You didn't tell me it was like a real podcast, dude.
Yeah, it's like legit.
We think it was fake.
Everybody does a podcast now. Everybody and their mother does a podcast now.
Oh. What'd you think it was?
Hats off to you, my friend.
Should be good to go. You guys sound great.
I thought this was bootleg, Colin.
Oh.
Okay. You talking to me with cell phones?
Could have been. Hey, man, people get famous on cell phones.
I
I ain't
should
judging.
Started here.
On an underground podcast.
Nobody stop me. A's and B's in the school, then watch across stage and Mars. Ooh, mama, you want, you raised to go to the sun. Always destined to get it, but that won't only begun. Confidence, said she love my accomplishments, yeah. Said she love my confidence, said she love my accomplishments, yeah. Said she love my dominance, said she love my harmony, yeah. Said she love my dominance.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Flag Talk. But don't attempt to adjust your computer screens or your mobile devices. Yes, it's me, T. Robinson, filling in for Rashad Colvin and Eric Cooper. When you see me, you know it's going to be all about the girls. And today I have coaches with me that know all about that. Please introduce yourselves.
My name is Kevin White. I coach Gateway Girls Flag Football, and I coach Elite Girls Football and in-house girls football. And I got a daughter who is 13 who's been playing for the past couple years. So that's me.
Yeah, and I'm Coach Green. I'm kind of new to the scene, but I'm growing and learning every day. And I've been able to just have good experience with the coaches around me, the staff around me, and I've been blessed to really dive into this thing. My daughter is the one that got me involved in it, and we've been doing it ever since.
Hey, I'm Coach Elvis. I coach the 10U Browns, all girls. My second year coaching the girls. My daughter plays. That's why I got into it. I've never coached flag before I got into this, so I'm more of a tackle guy, and the transition was it was definitely a different jump. And I think it being girls kind of allowed me to step back and not be like as aggressive as you would be in tackle football. And I love it. The girls seem to have a good time. We're pretty good. We went undefeated this year and won the championship. Go Browns.
Coach Elvis and Coach Kev told us what teams they coach. Coach Green, what teams did you coach?
I coached the 10U Buccaneers and the 14U Rams. They both did well. Both went to the Super Bowl. Got a chance to had an opportunity to play this guy in the Super Bowl and this guy in the Super Bowl, and it's just been a great ride, man. My Rams, they was able to win a championship, and Buccaneers, we were close to it. So, congratulations again, Coach.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. You know what? It wasn't even you. Coach T beat me last year, and whoever team she was attached to this year was going to get it.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I had to get my licks back. That was just going to happen.
Yeah.
And you kind of just got caught. I thought you were a great coach, man. You did a great.
Talk to me about how you guys got into coaching girls.
Daughters.
Definitely my daughter.
I hope that everybody's answer better be daughters.
Yeah.
Up here.
I mean, I actually got into flag, but the main reason I got into flag was because Callie wanted to play tackle football for Gateway.
Callie's your daughter.
Yes. And I
She's
told
a dog,
her, what's that?
She's a dog.
Thank you. And I told her, I said, listen, you play flag first, see how you like it. And she played for the first season. She just excelled. So we just stuck with flag. And then I stuck with flag and love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, my daughter, Lyric, she's 9. She'll be 10 next month. And she just happened to just be watching YouTube, and she seen flag on the screen and was like, I want to try that. So I looked it up, and NFL flag was first thing that we seen, and we got involved. And Coach Collins was actually the first person that I got introduced to coaching. And at first I was just a supportive parent. And I went from that to getting a little bit more involved and to being an assistant coach myself.
I've been coaching for like 16 years, 15, about 15
How
years.
old are kids?
Because I coached my nephew right before I coached Dino. Dino's 16.
That's tackle, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I've been coaching
Okay.
tackle football forever at the youth level. all the way up to the most elite youth football you could go, like travel football around the country, battle, FYF, FBU, stuff like that. So it was a huge transition when I get into flag because my daughter wants to be just like my son. So she could have picked anything, but she picked football because, it's so common in our household. I think it was just easy for
Football
her to
house.
be like, very football house.
Nice.
So she got into it. She wanted to try it, and she's getting better all the time, I'm enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would enjoy it, right? I came in with some like predetermined notions of how I was going to feel.
You came in hot.
Right?
I remember
Came in
last
like,
year.
man,
I remember
real
last
hot.
season.
Right? But I just think, dealing with, young girls, it's kind of a different feel.
So talk to me about that. Talk to me about the
You want to
differences.
do that already?
Talk to me about the
We did lose
differences
some
between
time
coaching
already.
your son and coaching your daughter.
So I'm broken inside. That's the best I could explain it. But when it comes to my daughters, they kind of run all over me.
She has you like this?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I do my best to try to coach, but then I'm like always the nice guy because I don't want them to be mad at me or scared of me or anything like that. So I leave it to the female, really good coaches that I know around me to go ahead and implement those tough discipline. I was lucky to draft real well this year.
I would say.
I had some ballers.
Mm-hmm.
My son was dialing it up on the plays.
He did very well.
I just do the pregame speeches, the halftime speeches. This is what I'm good at, right? People should know what they're good at.
But
right?
what's the biggest difference you think coaching your son and coaching your daughter?
Oh, it's not even close to.
There's not even.
It's not even a comparison. But I'm getting the same reward, even though it's completely different. And it's like, my son, I want him to, come back with blood on his knuckles. And my daughter, I don't want any of that. But watching them develop, learn the game, get better, faster, be able to do things more. She gets flags, right? She gets a run. You can kind of see that confidence build up play by play. And I think it transitions into life. That's why you got to love football, right? So it teaches you those life lessons. Like it definitely transitions into real world. When she's out there, middle school, I don't know. I'm assuming it was rough, okay? I'm assuming it's rough for a middle school girl, but I think that confidence definitely goes with you, even if it's those little victories,
Yeah.
So
Being a
I
girl
think it's
athlete
important.
is rough anyway because you have to prove yourself,
Sure.
and you have to get the respect for boys. What do you guys think the biggest lesson that maybe you taught some of the girls or developmentally, to get them ready to play?
I just wanted them to have a tough skin, you know what I mean? Because you're going to get some bumps and bruises. You're going to get injured. And I've seen my daughter get injured several times, and she give me that look like I'm not coming out the game. I'm staying in the game. And I've seen her do that several times. Even when she played with the co-ed boys U, she hurt her ankle. And I was like, you know what I mean? You good? You want to, hang out? And she was like, I'm going in. And she finished that scrimmage. So it's just building that mental toughness, and I think, and just seeing their individual skills, their skill set, and knowing how to dial that in, and just helping them develop that.
Callie, same thing. Started with the co-ed teams, took hits like she was tackle football, but she plays with boys all the time in the neighborhood. There's no females in her neighborhood, so she's always playing football with the boys. And then obviously with Caden, stuff like that. So she's tough, and pretty much a lot of the girls I've noticed hang out with boys. Nowadays it's not girls hanging out in groups. It's the girls are with the boys and they're playing football and they're on concrete, in the playground, stuff like that. So I think with this flag football, because now that's all they do. My wife's a teacher, school teacher, and she said that's all they do at recess is play football and stuff like that. So I think that's where the girls, get that.
So you mentioned, Coach Kev, your daughter played co-ed, and do you feel like that helped to further advance her for when
no
she's
doubt.
playing with the girls?
No doubt. And then the other biggest thing too is with her is I noticed So she just turned. So last year she was 12. She played on your elite team that was 16U.
She did well.
And she did very well. Not to mention, she would always practice with the Penn Hills girls.
Right.
So I think that was huge with her and built her confidence up and stuff like that, especially if she's pulling flags from like off of high school girls and catching balls from high school girls and stuff like that. And then the same with this year. She practiced with us for Gateway the whole year. Definitely, it's no different than, your little brother playing with your bigger brother, and that's how you learn and stuff like that. So it definitely, I can definitely see the improvement.
All three of you coaches up here won championships. What do you think that you added to the team, or what do you think was the most important thing that you added to your girls to help you win that championship?
So I think it's important to, especially if you're the head coach, and if that's your job, you're supposed to either build your staff and fill in the gaps that you need to be complete. And this year for me, my son really took over kind of the offensive scheming of it. And on defense, we were pretty simple because the girls are still pretty young, so there's not a lot of complex schemes that we needed to run. I'm sure we'll need to do some more complex stuff at the all-star level, but where I fit in this year, to be honest, was kind of that fun relief. And I'm okay to do that, right? I think it's necessary that you have all those holes filled, right? Like you have the discipline and the scheme, and then you also have that fun relief. So tried to keep it light, tried to make sure the girls kept smiling and kept having fun, because when they start hating the game, we're all screwed.
Mm-hmm. For me, it was just dialing in the plays. I remember, because this is my first time, so I'm at home like dialing in plays like I'm a computer genius, like, and I was just so like passionate about it. And I went on Amazon buying equipment and all stuff, and I found out that it's not about the equipment, it's not about the plays, it's about how you coach the game. And I'm just blessed that I had staff like you and Diesel and a wonderful, talented daughter that y'all have and T, and it was just an honor to really go through the season with y'all. We've had our ups and downs, but it was just, I think what I brought to the table was just that coaching mentality and just trying to just coach the girls my best way I knew how.
Well, unfortunately, I didn't win a championship with the girls, but I did win it with my 12U co-ed team.
Still champ.
Still champ.
Your girl got one.
But
right.
Yeah, so
Your daughter
got one because she was the only girl on the team. But my biggest thing was the boys in Cali, they had a group chat because they all knew each other. So they had their own group chat. Then the girls team, same thing. They all had a group chat. So they all had that always talking, stuff like that throughout the week. And it showed in practice where, no arguing, no, you're terrible, you're this, you're that.
You're trash.
Yeah, exactly.
I still do that.
And my biggest thing was too, I told the kids flat out, I'm a very passionate coach. The second you step on that field, I'm going to yell at you. But don't take it to heart. I'm yelling at you because I love you and because I care about you and I'm trying to make you better.
Right.
As soon as you come off the field, after the game, we're cool again.
Right.
Plus, you come from tackle football.
Yeah.
Let's not leave that out. I feel like that's important.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you just got to let them know from the very beginning, it's nothing personal.
Yeah.
Trying to make you better. We care about you. Don't want you getting hurt. Want to make you better each and every week, each and every practice, each and every play. We want you to get better. So yeah, you could tell, it worked.
Yeah.
So
I think the beautiful thing is that all three of us have daughters involved.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And, shout out Father's Day, you know what I mean? But just the fact that we
dads matter.
That we're pretty good, dope dads, you know what I mean? And
Hashtag dope dads.
yeah. But just to have that experience with your daughter, and you know, you rooting for your daughter and other kids. You seeing her make friends with other teammates.
Sure.
Yep.
That's just like it's a beautiful thing to see. There's been kids that I went to go recruit, and I ended up changing their lives. You know what I'm saying? Like, because like they had a situation at home, and that was their escape.
Yep.
So it's like you never know, you're gonna run into things like that, and that's what makes this league special.
Especially when the girls are at that age now where they don't want to listen to an adult. You know, they have that mentality where it's just about their friends. You know, they don't want to come. They don't want to go to their dad. They don't want to go to their mom and talk about stuff. That's what makes it. You know, they're listening to us at least.
As a veteran coach, Coach Cav, that has experience with coaching girls, what advice would you give to the newer coaches that are just now kind of getting into coaching girls specifically? What advice would you give to them on how they could maybe better develop their girls, or just advice on how they can?
Patience. Patience. You have to have patience. You know, as us coaches, you know, and coming from a tackle football background, stuff like that, we expect the best out of our kids, and like they should know what they got to do. You know, it's almost like we expect that. With the girls, a lot of them, you know, like there was a couple girls on my team who, even by the last game of the season, still didn't know where to line up, stuff like that.
Getting the
You just got to
concept
be
of the
patient.
game,
Yeah, you just got to be patient with them. Repetition, you know, and there was a lot of times where if I knew I was going to be able to get there early, I would send a message out, hey, anybody want to come early, we can work. So, yeah, that's my biggest advice. Just be patient. Be patient. Just let them know from the very beginning, I'm going to work with you. There's going to be some up and downs. There's going to be some hard times. I'm probably going to yell at you, but it's not because of you.
You mean you're going to absolutely yell at them?
Yeah.
It's guaranteed.
Yeah.
My advice would be stronger. Don't let them rock all over you.
I'm gonna like say it a couple times, and then I'm gonna look at your parent. Like if you have a mom or a dad at the field, I'm gonna be like, hey, you should say something.
I mean, we still have to develop the girls.
That's why you should have a
We-
female on the staff, right? It's important that we all work together.
I'm glad
to
that
this,
I did.
right?
Like I had, females on the staff, and they helped, especially Coach T. You know what I mean? But I've had other female coaches that helped in different ways, and I had male coaches. You know what I mean? I just had a lot of help this season, and it just felt good to have that type of help and assistance. You know what I mean? That people knew what they was doing.
I think it's important that, like, it's not a bunch of alpha men kind of doing what we do at tackle football, because it could very easily deter young girls from wanting to play the game.
Easily.
So I think it's important that there's like some balance, that you approach the situation in a cautious way, still trying to give them all the knowledge and teach them the game, but understand that football's new to girls, right? Compared to what it is to guys, right? How deeply it's embedded in their culture and stuff like that. So you this whole new lane for women, I think, is amazing, right? I think it opens up avenues that maybe 50 years down the road, you will see more female athletes that can compete with the men at the D1 level, right?
Yep.
But it starts with baby steps, and we have to make sure we get as many girls to give it a shot.
Right.
Because I get the same feelings that when I used to do travel and recruiting and finding that superstar kid, and you're like, oh my God, the world should see this kid, right? How good is she?
Right.
How good is he? Excuse me. In the past it was good, but I'm getting the same feelings. Your daughter, right? Your daughter's fantastic, right? It's you watch her play and you're like, man, I should take her somewhere so somebody could see her.
Right.
She needs to be on someone's television set.
Number one running back in the class of 27, Keemon Spell, right? Happens to be one of my friend's sons. I recruited him for a travel team I did. I've watched him play, and I was like, hey, man, I got to take this kid. He has to Like somebody has to see how good he is because, you know, a lot of times we're trapped in our communities, in our neighborhoods, in our groups, right? And, you know, not saying I had anything to do with the success, but like you can see these diamonds, right? Like
I can relate to that.
There's a couple of girls that play on our team,
Amazing.
right? That
Amazing.
I'm like,
yeah,
these girls have the potential to be big faces
yeah.
of
They will.
you know what I mean, of
Oh, they
flag
will.
football, right? But unless you're willing, unless we are willing, unless the administration and the league and
Yeah.
you know, Koo and Rashad are willing to invest that time and effort into promoting these girls, it'll never happen, right? So that's why I said it takes everybody. It can't just be one guy yelling at the top of his lungs. You need all these aspects to kind of run smoothly. I appreciate the league, I really do. I'm new to it. I'm new to flag.
Yeah.
I had to kind of like rethink my perspective of football and understand that it's way broader than what I grew up with, what we grew up with, you know. So I'm excited. I'm excited for the future of football, right?
Big time.
I'm excited for the women. I'm excited for the girls.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? For the future of football. Like we're gonna get to see some really cool plays, some really cool, you know, from a demographic we never touched before.
Yeah.
You know, so
And especially for all of our daughters, they're all young enough to where they're going to be in this for a long time,
Right.
and so it's just going to make the sport that much better.
The future is bright.
Very bright.
The things that are coming out, the growth in the sport is phenomenal, and it's just going to keep getting bigger.
Yeah.
And we're going to need coaches like you who are able to combat the stereotypical thought that football is just for boys.
Yeah.
You know, how do you think you're able, or how do you think that you've combated that stereotypical way of thinking with how you raise your daughters and how you coach your daughters and the other girls on the team?
Like I said, I've had, you know, some assistants, and I don't know. I think it takes just knowing, you know what I mean, who you are as a person, you know what I mean, and applying some of that to the field, your football knowledge of what you can do, and then you kind of blend that together with their skill set,
Right.
you know what I mean, and you just got to know where they're good at, and you know what I mean, what they're good at, and then you can identify that, and then you put that together as a group,
Right.
and that's all I pretty much did. You know, I went through the draft process, and draft was so fun, you know what I mean, like, and just to see them kids, the excitement, and just to see the players, man. And then, I mean, as far as me coaching my daughter, you know, she's the one that wants to work hard. You know what I mean? She's there even when she don't have to practice. And she just wants to learn more. So I think that she's going to develop into a star at some point.
Like Coach is saying, I think it starts with like that inner battle within yourself. Like you got to rewire your brain and say football's for everyone.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're all guys. We all grew up a certain way. You know, I don't know how old you guys, but 80s, 90s. You know what I mean? It was a different world. Football was different. And if we can just tweak it a little bit, it could be so much more acceptable to everybody else, you know?
Yeah.
And I like just having those battles, those inner battles, and then letting the good side win, you know, the progressive
That's
side,
growth.
letting that
That's
win.
growth.
That's growth. And then sharing that with the girls, and then letting that, like he said, you know what I mean? You do it inside, and then you share it outside. And it reflects, it starts at home with your daughter. And then if you got it right there, then you can go and share that on the field with other daughters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it's important to have that, you know, have that foundation that's solid. Because usually when you got problems, it shows on the field.
It shows.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It shows on the
It
field.
does.
Yeah.
So it happens, you know?
Yeah.
Girls have meltdowns. Boys have meltdowns,
Yeah.
you know?
That's where it comes into talking to, you know, you gotta know who you could talk to and which way, you know. Like as a male coach, if you tell a girl to stop crying, stop being a baby, it's different than a female coach saying that to that girl. Big time. Now Callie, I'll talk to her.
Yeah, she's yours.
Right.
I ain't talking to nobody else's daughter crazy.
You know, but she knows. But you know, I mean, I'll yell at her just like I do at home.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
but now after the game, hug, kiss, love you, did a great game.
Mm-hmm.
But she knows that that's me. She knows that. And I got to make sure before the season, I tell parents too, this is me. This is how I am during the game. Like, I'm passionate. So don't get mad because I'm yelling at your daughter or son or whatever, because, you know, and it all works out.
You set the expectation,
Yep,
right?
yep.
You have your parent meetings.
Yep.
This is what I do. This is what I don't do. This is what I expect. This is what I don't expect. And it is what it is.
That's the biggest
I've
thing.
had-
That's the biggest thing is the parent meeting. You need to let them know, like, hey, the minute practice starts and they step foot on this field, they are mine.
Right.
If you have something to say, go get your clearances, help me coach. Other than that,
Listen, this flag is crazy. Parents will just come off the stands and start
right.
preaching. I don't really see any tight regulation.
Oh, yeah.
You might have to hire some security because there's a lot of parent activity on the fields. I'm just going to go ahead and say that.
I've seen it.
It's a lot.
But it was the parents. They really engaged with me, and I shout out to them because they made sure that the kids got there on time, made sure they had the equipment. You know, if they didn't have a mouthpiece, shout out to you for the magic bag. You know what I mean?
My
Like,
magic book bag got everything. You never know what's going to pull out of that
oh,
bag.
yeah, and that's something that I'll carry forward
Yep.
as a coach. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
just to be more prepared. And like when it comes to the girls, like it wasn't just. It went from me coaching my daughter to me coaching other parents' daughters, and me treating them like my own.
That's
And I think that was
what
like
it is.
that. Like
Yeah.
I'm not going to treat your child any different than I would treat my child,
That's right.
and
Yep.
you know, like then you genuinely start to grow with these girls, and they grow on you.
Yeah.
And like my girls love me, man. They look at me like a big bro or
Right.
or a dad figure myself.
Yeah.
So, and the parents was really let me know it was an indicator that, you know, I'm doing good as a coach. Was the parents was like, yo, I want you to coach my daughter. You like you, and then like it's just that support, man. And I'm thankful that I had that.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. You know, even, you know, us coaching, when we were coaching Gateway for like the midget league, I can be walking down the mall and I'll hear Coach Kev, and I'll
You're
look
forever
and I'm
coach.
looking at him
Forever
like,
coach.
You
like
forever coach.
like,
it don't
who
matter
are
how many
you?
years go by.
But then it takes me a second
Yeah.
to realize, like, man, I coached that dude back in termites.
At least they help you narrow it down with the
Right.
coach, right? They're not just like, hey, Kev,
Yeah,
you know?
right. But it's amazing when you see somebody 15 years later still calling you Coach Kev and
Yeah.
come up and talk to you like you just seen him 2 days ago. That's amazing.
I think that's a testament to what kind of impression this
Yes.
leaves on them.
Yep.
Right. I've been playing, I've played sports since, 6, 7 years old. And every coach that I had that made an impression on me, I still see them. I call them coach.
Mm.
I'm 40 years old. I said that. Damn it. But it matters, right? Like these little, and it's not like a ton of time, right? Like I think it was a lot less for me with flag. I think it's like one time a week or something like that, and then the game. So it's not like an extreme amount of time, but even in those little moments, like these girls connect with you, right? That these moments are special and they're gonna remember them. So I think we got a responsibility to make sure that they're full of something substantive, something of substance. You know what I mean? So, but Coach T, I have a question for you. Since you've been asking the questions,
Okay.
why are you the only girl on this panel? See, I think this is a part of the problem, right? Where are the girl coaches? Where are the
women.
moms, the
Mhm.
women who it's we can only do so much,
Right.
right? And then you get to a point where it's like, I don't want to get into this discussion, but like most of the dads that are involved have daughters,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the cause. But you can't depend on that.
Right.
If we want girls flag to succeed, it cannot be driven just strictly off of the fathers
Right.
of the
Agreed.
girls.
I think there are.
But I
I
think
think there
that-
are a lot. I think there are a lot of women coaches around. They're just in other places, but also I think that there is like maybe a fear, of I just want my daughter or my son to be coached properly, and there's the same stigma we were talking about it being a man's sport.
Mm-hmm.
So I do kind of feel like that, but I get a lot of love everywhere I go because of the women and the moms seeing me coaching.
Well, how
Yeah.
did you get so good at coaching?
I'm not scared. That's
Because
what,
I mean, because it's not really a stigma. It's actually accurate, right? The girls don't have the experience.
Right.
We played. I'm assuming, right? We played at some point in our lives that we got taught the game,
Yeah.
so we feel confident to teach the game.
Mm.
Girls never had that. Well, women at this point that could be coaches haven't really been in that position. So in the next 20 years, there's going to be a ton of these girls who've had experience who can pass that down. But I think it's important for us to encourage first-time
yeah,
I'm dug
women
in.
coaches.
because there weren't a whole lot of organized girls football. I know back in high school days there was like I think a powder puff league.
Oh,
There
yeah. My sister played Powder
Right.
Puff. I love that.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah.
But boys definitely get more opportunities to play, or had more opportunities to play football. Where now, just like
Yeah.
you said, there's going to be
Mhm.
more
Yeah.
girl coaches and women coaches
Right.
coming up because they play organized. Now, I mean, like we talked about a while ago. I mean, I played street football with. I'd probably play with some of y'all.
Right.
You know, in,
Right.
in the dirt and in the grass or whatever, in the concrete. But it was just fun. And how I got started was I would just be on the sideline. I learned the game. My sons played. I have two older sons, one 22 and the other one 16, and they played in the league. And I would be on the sidelines and, just learning
Sure.
from my husband, Coach Diesel. Shout out to you.
Yeah, these.
And just one day, Coach Coop asked me to coach Penn Hills High School because we were allowed to have a team, in efforts to get girls flag football
Sure.
sanctioned. And so I was like, me? Are you sure? He's like, yeah, you have the personality for it. You know what you're doing. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And, you just kind of jump in and you learn along the way.
I don't know if this is a thing, but I feel like there should be workshops for moms, women who would like to learn.
I'm gonna do some recruitment within this girls' league and just see if I can just find some hidden gems.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because I do agree with that. I think
There should be some type of resources to kind of
more
help
women involved.
push
and
that along. NFL, do you
She's
hear
a
me?
gym in her own
NFL,
self.
there
like,
should be some resources for that, for mothers and women who would like to kind of get a crash course of the game.
Get,
Yeah, I think
get 'em
that's
out of the
too.
shell.
Dads too.
Oh, some dads need it.
Yeah.
I needed it.
Dads
And I'm a
too.
lifelong football guy. I got into flag. I was like, you can't do what? I was looking at Rashad and Koo crazy in the face. I mean, I can't believe it that
Oh,
you can't
actually-
do certain things.
That's actually a good idea, the workshop. So
Yeah, I think that'd be a great idea.
When you first got into
You heard
coaching,
it here first.
when you first got into coaching girls flag, did you think it was as big as it was?
no.
No.
I'm gonna be honest. Like last season, I got into the co-ag league, and I got just a little glimpse of it. You know
Little
what I mean?
taste.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So I didn't know what to expect, and I didn't think it was gonna be this big. It was like we actually had divisions. You know what I mean? And then when I went to training camp, it just made me want to come back every single training camp because I wanted to see the girls more and more. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm just like, wow, this really is. It's really is a thing. You know what I'm saying? This really can grow.
It's
you know what I mean?
huge.
As much as the boys. So it was just it was pretty dope to see that. You know what I mean? And see how many girls showed up and the parents show up and just as much as the boys. And I was just like, yeah, this could be a real thing.
I mean, if you think about it, like, it should have never been limited to them, right? Like, there should have always been some type of version. Every other sport, baseball has softball, girls basketball uses a smaller football, like smaller basketball. So there should have always been some type of version to kind of encourage their participation. But,
I think it was always out there. There was just never enough interest from females. So that's why, we had the co-ed league, which had a bunch of females that played with the boys. And then, like last year, our first season, we had to combine 4 teams with girls from ages 8 to 14.
Yep.
And then this year we ended up having 8 teams with 2 divisions, which
Right.
is from a fall season to a spring season
Spring to spring.
spring to spring. Sorry, it amazing. So now I can't wait to see what happens next spring.
Mhm.
Hopefully we have 8 teams per division and maybe have 3 divisions going on now.
Yeah.
But now and then, of course, I think we're going to start peaking interest now this year too. We're taking 2 elite teams to a tournament next week, a 12U girls team and a 10U girls team.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully that starts piquing interest in that aspect of, the travel teams. I was talking to Coach Charles about soon as we get back from this tournament, I would like to start getting a 14U team together for the fall tournaments.
Yeah.
And start them right now and just get them gelling until next year.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait for next season.
So yeah, I'm already in the process of doing some recruitment. Everywhere I'm going now, I'm thinking flag football and how it can grow. I'm at Sam's Club and I see a lady. She got like 8 kids. I'm like your kids like sports? You know what I'm saying? I'm Coach Green.
At the
You know what I
Sam's
mean?
Club, you recruited at the Sam's Club?
Facts.
Okay.
And then I gave them the links and everything, and I'm constantly doing that. You know what I mean? Because I want the league to grow and be as successful as possible.
Yeah.
I see girls who got potential, and I'm dialed into that. You know what I mean? Like, this is my first season, and I could just foresee myself doing this for a long time.
And girls flag even goes bigger beyond this league. You have high school that's
Olympics.
now being sanctioned.
Colleges.
Yeah.
College, right? We have like scholarships happening. And then you have the whole travel sector.
Right.
You got Run the World. I mean, there's like 500 girls, just all girls teams down there
Crazy.
competing.
And to play devil's advocate, this is why, with what you said, like, the interest, I think it's because it is the variation of football. Because you had tackle football for girls, right?
Mhm.
Pittsburgh Passion has been around for a while.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We have a team here,
Yep.
Mhm.
right?
And they're good.
And
And
they're
they're
good. And they're good.
And very little amount of young girls know about the Pittsburgh Passion.
Yeah.
I think flag opens the door because it's not tackle football.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause some of these girls wouldn't make it in tackle football. And sometimes when you watch tackle football, I don't know, as men, maybe sometimes it's the same sensation we get when we watch like girls basketball. Like, it's just not as explosive as we're used to seeing. So sometimes we're like, oh, like this isn't as good, but they're still, they still whoop on us. You know what I'm saying? 9, 10 days.
Smash y'all.
Right. Whoop on us all day, but we be on the other side like, yeah, this ain't that good. Just because a boy ain't, 6'8" and dunking between his legs, So I think now that flag in general is exploding.
Mm-hmm.
It just shows us that girls have a place here
I mean, that's just
in this sport.
like last night we refed a fundraiser for Alzheimer's.
Oh, I
and
seen that.
They could have did a kickball game. They could have did a softball game.
Mhm.
They could have did basketball. No,
Mhm.
they picked flag.
Yeah.
That's right.
And
Roman.
these girls were out there balling. It was a great game.
Right.
And these are adults, like 50-year-old ladies playing
Oh,
this
really?
game.
Oh, nice.
It was crazy. But yeah, I mean, just even that aspect of it, how where flag is going,
Yeah.
it's becoming more and more popular with everything, throughout the sports.
As a football guy, how does it make you feel? I know you actually made this transition years ago, right? Like, we both started tackle, right, with sons, and then you kind of drifted off into the flag, and I stayed into the tackle. Like, how do you feel? Do you feel that it's different, or do you get the same feeling inside of like satisfaction of coaching and
it's the same
and
the
like
same.
love for the game?
Yep,
It
it's the
is
same.
still a little bit of a different game than we're used to, right?
It's
So
for me, it's still the same. It's just a smaller group.
yeah,
Now I don't have to remember 50 names. I only have to try to remember 10.
that's a good point.
But just even like a lot of the kids that play flag play tackle or sevens or whatever. So it's still the same. To me, it's football.
Yeah.
It's still the
Yeah.
same thing, just different rules. But yeah, I mean, even Caden, when Caden played when his first year, you could tell he didn't really know what he was doing.
Yeah.
But after his second season, I mean, he became one of the best tight ends that the probably league's ever seen.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So it just, and then that really, I think my biggest thing too was the first season Caden played, I stepped back and was a dad.
Yeah.
I didn't coach. I stayed in the stands to watch,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
was probably really good for me because I was able to understand the game a lot better instead of just going right into it.
Right.
So that was a big, then after that I was hooked.
So speaking
Completely.
about how girls flag has exploded and is exploding, are your daughters interested in playing for high schools or
Yes.
playing in college
Yes.
or going to the Olympics? Like, talk to me about what those conversations are like.
My daughter, she started out playing ballet or doing ballet, and I had like a set plan for her. As you know, my daughter Lulu, she goes to Kappa, and I'm just like, all right, well, I want my youngest, it's my last one, it's my baby. I want her to go to Kappa, and she's going to do this, ballet thing, and we got
She's
it
going to
all.
be a dancer.
And it's
gonna twirl around.
Now, ballet is completely far away from her mind right now. She
You're gonna
is
be a baller.
so dialed into flag football, and like that's just what it is. And I'm like,
She's going to play for me.
yeah, I can see her
Yeah.
playing. You know what I mean? Like in the future and playing and taking it further. So, yeah, that's how my daughter thinks now. She's a sports fanatic.
Nice.
She likes boxing and all that. I'm just like,
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
she's the one. Like she's Lou's the singer, Lyric's the sports player. So no more ballet.
And then now it's sanctioned.
Mm-hmm.
You got to wonder how many more schools are going to start having it now that it's
Exactly.
sanctioned. I mean, where's it at now? I think total in Pennsylvania, what is it?
101.
101.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for one, it's a business, right? It's a new market
Mm-hmm.
with new money that hasn't been tapped into. So as long as they keep showing up, it's just going to keep growing bigger and bigger.
I mean, even like look at this year. They had they do the big 33 for tackle,
Yeah.
but they did it this year for the girls for
Yeah.
flag football.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
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 Love that.
And with the recruitment and everything else, and now hopefully when it's sanctioned, these girls aren't going to be playing a championship down Highmark. They're going to be playing their championship like maybe out at where the PIAA does their
Mm-hmm.
now they're going to
That
start.
would be really cool.
Yeah, hopefully it gets to where these girls are going to start traveling to do their games and tournaments and stuff like that.
We've come a long way. I mean, if you think about it, in the history of football, the only place where a girl was a cheerleader,
Yep.
I never wanted to cheer.
right? It was like, that was it. And look, I
Yeah.
put my daughter in cheering because it was like, hey, my son's already playing.
Mm-hmm.
Give my daughter something to do, to cheer. It's such a slow change. And then all of a sudden now with flag, like you're in like. a
Did she
boom.
like cheering?
Did she like cheering?
Yeah.
Not really. She just she didn't. I don't think the cheer coach really connected with her.
Mm-hmm.
My personal daughter has never been like super athletic or anything like that. She's very smart. She's into theater, stuff like that. And I think she had a tendency to like stay away from things that are too difficult to accomplish. Probably my fault because I babied her, right?
Dad.
I get it. I'm okay with it. Honestly, I'm all right. I'm okay with it.
She
so-
toughened up though.
I'm hoping
From-
that you
from-
can do.
from
I'm hoping that
last
you
year
can
to
toughen her
now?
up.
Yeah.
We're out here. She wanted to stay in New York, and I was like, "You got to go to practice." She was like, "I want to go to New York." I was like, "Go to my practice." So, she's here. She's gonna be at practice tomorrow. So
Good.
hopefully you can break her down a little bit. But no,
Absolutely.
I'm just excited for her to get better, and she kind of knows where she places on the team. So she doesn't have like super high expectations, but
I do.
I mean, I have expectations.
I do for her.
I just want to make sure that she knows that, we're going to an elite. This isn't what we just came off of. It's her first experience
Yeah.
with travel ball. I'm very well versed in travel football and just travel sports and how serious it gets. So
Okay. Well, you know what, gentlemen? This conversation was amazing. I'm so happy to have you here. What last piece, give me a couple seconds, last piece of advice that you want to give to new coaches wanting to come and coach girls flag?
don't be too proud, and don't be so stubborn that you can't learn. I think it's important that we all continue to learn new things.
Yeah.
In
Don't be
life.
afraid to ask.
Yeah. So
Ask
Yeah.
questions. Be a sponge. Learn from other coaches with experience, and put your best foot forward. You're gonna have your failures. You're gonna have your ups, your downs. And like Coach Cav was saying, just be patient, and it'll all come to you eventually.
Mm-hmm.
What they both said.
Good. All right. Do
and
you
more
guys-
girl coaches,
That's right.
workshops, NFL,
More women
workshops,
coaches. Absolutely.
resources.
Do you want to share your social medias?
Oh, sure.
How do we get in contact with you all?
I'm a DJ profession. I have a DJ company. It's envivoentertainment.com is the website, and then I'm Sosa Smooth on all social media platforms.
You can look me up on cgreen412 on Instagram. Also got my clothing line coming out, Dirt the Billionaire. So look for that pretty soon. Gonna be some flywear.
I'm too old for social media. Just Kevin White on Facebook.
Yeah, you have that is social media. That is social
That's
media.
the only
Kev.
social media.
That's the one for the oldies. I got it too. Don't worry about it. I'm sure we all got one.
Coming
All
out
right,
from
well,
MySpace.
This was
It is
a
MySpace.
listen, not MySpace. We're not gonna go back there. This was a great conversation, and
Yes.
we will see you all on the next one. Don't forget to click like and share.
Thanks for having us.
Expectations, living all in the moment, never not in the past. Seeing my moment pushes, so now I got status in my confidence.